So I think it's been about a week since we last reviewed the seeds. At that time there was a little bit of growth, and now everything is kind of exploded, and I'll show you around. So I did end up getting some vegetables started. This is a mesclun or lettuce mix, which we're already seeing some sprouts, which is great to see. And eventually this will get put out. It's just a little too hot outside right now. And this is the yarrow. So the yarrow is looking really good. That is the Colorado variety. Everything has pretty much sprouted except the rutabaga. I'm not certain why. I've only got like 1 or 2 seeds out of everything I've planted that's come through. So that's a little sad. I'll have to see if I do have any other seeds and might have to just start another tray. And so these here are the snapdragons. So these are coming in too. They're super duper tiny and fragile. This here in the front is Indian blanket, or I think it's called like Galliarda or something like that. I can't remember the technical term for it. Calendula, which those are pretty easy. They're kind of like marigolds. They just come right out pretty easily, not too much maintenance. In fact, mine are getting a little leggy. I'm trying to have a fan on them and stuff, but I don't know if the light's sufficient enough for them, unfortunately. So maybe I can get them moved out pretty soon. And back there is the coreopsis. Coreopsis is coming in now, which is good to see. Down here on the bottom, we have the rest of the yarrow varieties. I have baby's breath back there in the far right, which is more calendula and some sweet alyssum, which is kind of like a lace type flower. So quite a bit of filler. That was one of the things that a lot of people tend to have advice for, is that as a cut flower farmer, you need a lot of filler. So that's something I am trying to focus on. And I just noticed my broccoli is coming in. That's new from when I was last in here today. So woohoo, pretty exciting. I've got, you know, both the flower farm stuff that I'm venturing into, as well as our own personal veggies and things that we have planted to go out. So yeah, that is the update for this week. So I still have the sweet pea varieties that need to go out. I'm really nervous about these because I think they like a little bit more of a cooler temp, and we're still hitting the 90s here in our part of Arizona. So I'm a little hesitant to get these guys in and then risk, you know, putting them out when the weather's too hot and them just suffering. So that is something I've not gotten in. The other things I've not gotten in yet is the Lebanon or the Nigella. Again, those are, you know, I think need just a little bit slightly cooler weather. And the other aspect too is that these do well direct sown out there. I don't have my beds fully established yet out there to be able to start them, and so I'm waiting to get that soil order in so that I can get that. Lace flower, again, that one is a great direct sown, as well as the hollyhock. And the hollyhock I just recently found out is a terrible cut flower. It's very pretty though. I mean, maybe I'll just use it for myself, but it's not a great cut flower, unfortunately. So I'm still going to throw it out there somewhere and see how it does. So the baby's breath is a little bit leggy, and I don't know if it's just because there's too many in there. I don't know if it was because the light source wasn't great. I really don't know. So these are probably going to be the tough ones for me. Makes me nervous because they just don't like these lights, I don't think. So these are not like the T4 bulbs that we used to use, or T2, I can't remember, back in the day. These were just some LEDs that were geared towards growing, so haven't used them. This is all an experiment, and we'll kind of see what happens from here. Okay, y'all, drastic measure time. So I am under the impression now that these grow lights are just garbage, just LEDs, and I should have known better. I've used T8 bulbs in the past, and they were like legit bulbs, not LEDs. And so I thought technology had advanced in the past, I don't know, 5-10 years that I've grown from seed. Apparently it has not. And so I need to get this shelf moved over. Luckily, I do have some south-facing windows that I can open to get these guys some light in. I noticed this with our veggies, so that's not a good sign for them to be like that quick. So I'm gonna move all this and hopefully try to get it some real light until I can get some replacement bulbs in. But yeah, just word of advice, those grow lights that they sell on Amazon are absolute garbage. Don't do it. All right, everybody is moved and positioned in front of some windows, at least for right now, until I can get some real grow lights in here and established. I'm hoping that this will help, but it is what it is, and we're gonna make the best of it until we can get some things that we need. So yep, there it is. Paul helped me establish and set up the new grow lights, which you'll see here in a second when he tests out with a light meter what a massive difference is between these crappy Amazon ones
Oh my gosh.
and the new ones. So that typical range for growth should be within 150. As you can see, that one was up in the thousands, which means that's a complete difference and should hopefully make such a huge difference with these plants. Alright, new grow lights have been installed, and so far they are doing really nicely. These are nice because they have multiple spectrums that you can switch from. So your blues for seeds, your reds for flowering, and then just your plain old white. So everybody's looking a little bit better today. I'm excited to kind of see if this continues to help maybe going forward, but so far no complaints. I do know that some of these are definitely going to have to be repotted. My calendula, especially up here, it is not happy. There are a few that are pretty sad and almost past the point of leggy, so I've got to get those into something else in order to kind of continue to get them going. So what I'm going to do is buy these little water cups and just cut 3 holes at the bottom of them. Gonna give this a shot tomorrow, and I'll bring you along when I start to repot some of these plants. Thankfully not all of them need to, because I definitely would not have enough to do everything. And so yeah, so we're gonna give that a shot. Sorry, crazy hair, it's been a crazy busy day. But anyways, yeah, so yeah, we're gonna give that a shot. I had to tell you, this has been a lot more tougher, but as you saw the light video that we took with the, I don't know what you call it, a light meter, spectrometer, whatever, tells a different story from those crappy things they try to sell you on Amazon, obviously from China. I mean, I don't know how else you would explain why they would label something that is essentially a cabinet underlight as a grow light, but these are a little bit better. The reviews are slightly better. It's just way too hot. I've actually tested with a few of my other seedlings I pulled when I was clearing to make some more room. So I put some of those outside just to kind of test and see, okay, you know, could some of these calendulas that are going crazy, you know, what if I put them outside? And as I figured, way too small, way too young, and they're not established enough yet, and they just wilted, they just died. My baby's breath is gone. I am at this point trying to decide if I want to reseed directly outside or if I want to start an entirely new batch. I just don't know. Just trying to keep my spirits up because it's kind of tough right now, because everybody out here, they have zinnias in full bloom, dahlias coming out, sunflowers, and you see that and you get so excited and you want to do stuff, and you can't even get past the seed starting stage, and it's a little like a punch in the gut, especially when, you know, I've done this, well, not flowers, but I've grown things before, so the fact this has been such a struggle is kind of, oh, what a headache. But anyways, I guess we'll get this figured out. That's why we're doing this, and then we'll come back and be much better for it later on.
The new lights were making a drastic improvement to everything, and after everything was repotted and moved out and thinned out a little bit, that also made such a huge difference with a lot of the cell trays that I had planted. Everything was looking much more happier. It wasn't leaning off to the side. I thinned out like so much stuff, including some of my snaps, and then also the calendula. So everything overall was doing great, and that was pretty much the problem. We ended up finally working outside again, in which we laid down some cardboard bottoms to our raised beds that were set up, and then finally our soil order came in, so we were able to go ahead and get that all placed into the beds and raked out, as well as a layer of compost on top. And Paul found a friend in the yard while putting some of the soil out. And we laid one more bed. This would be for our vegetable garden. This was makeshift from castle blocks and just some spare pieces of wood we had laying around. But finally, by the end of the afternoon, we had our beds completely set up and ready for plants. Everybody is doing very happy, and for most part everything's looking good, and hopefully we will move on to transplanting here very soon, so yay. One important step that you have to take into consideration is hardening off your plants, and this is essentially taking them outside for brief intervals of time and allowing them to get used to the heat, to the temps, to the winds, and things of that sort. So I took the smaller shelf outside to our patio and just kind of let them enjoy the temps for a little bit. There were just a few guys that had to stay behind. They weren't quite ready to be placed outside, and so they got to enjoy the inside with just a fan for a little bit. I wanted to show you what a difference the snaps look like from compared to when we planted them. Look at what a difference that light has made. And then here's those sweet peas that we started. They are reaching for the sky.
So a little bit of an update. What has happened is we have a high pressure front coming through. And so in my previous footage, you saw that outside we were starting to take the plants outdoors to get them hardened off and used to the temps. And typically, from my understanding, this time of year, it's supposed to be trending downwards in temps. And with that high pressure system coming through, it's putting us back into the triple digits for about a week. And that's not normal. I know a lot of you out there are saying, well, that's Arizona for you, it's hot. That's actually not normal. In fact, they're hitting records up in Phoenix because of this. And I imagine in our area as well. So basically, everything I had outside is not going to thrive in those triple digits. I am planting cold crops, and so those require colder temps in order to do very well. And so it's unfortunate because it's delaying a lot of my planting. I had really hoped that I would be able to be transplanting next week, and now I'm rushing everything back inside, and everything is once again has to find a home in here, which I'm a little stretched for space, unfortunately. So I've got a lot of stuff standing in here, and it's gonna have to wait until next week at some point. Hopefully once the hundreds have passed And then perhaps we can try to get these back outside once more. But everything is looking good. I'm just really nervous because I don't want to keep these guys inside forever. It's not good for them. It's not good because they can get root bound in those tiny cell planters that they're in. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of anxiety right now, but I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. So I went in to water my sweet peas this morning, and I went to actually water them from the bottom of the tray and noticed that they have vastly outgrown their current cell trays. And so as you can see, this one is already starting to get root bound and stuff. So these need to be moved as soon as possible in order for them to, again, not become root bound, to not start to choke themselves out, or to, prevent themselves from taking in water or nutrients. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to transplant these out into these cups. That way they have a little bit more space to move around a little bit. I was hoping to get these planted soon. Unfortunately, we are going through a massive heat wave right now, and that is preventing me from getting these out because sweet peas are not very heat tolerant. In fact, they pretty much stop producing in the heat, so that's not a good situation to be in. So I've got to try to keep them happy for as long as possible. So I'm going to try to repot them and see if we can keep them happy for a little bit longer. Alright, now that's done. I'm just going to write on these cups what variety they were, since I have multiple varieties growing. So this is the Old Spice mix. Now that I have them labeled, I'm just going to go ahead and come through and give them a nice spritz or watering. Some of the soil that I reused was definitely already pretty moist, but quite a few of it was not, since it was right out of the potting mix bag. And I know that's a very huge faux pas for a lot of gardeners, is they like to pre-wet their potting mix. You probably definitely should. I just don't have the adequate space, I think, at the moment to make that big of a mess. So for now, I'm just gonna, do the best that I can with what I have. The other thing I want to work on today is my snaps, because they are definitely getting overcrowded at this point. I am glad to see a little bit more progress with the new grow lights. They're looking much more healthier, but I can tell that either the light's getting to them, maybe lack of water. That one looks like maybe not enough soil content. It's wilted, but I can tell they're starting to get very crowded, and it's time to thin these out and get them into their own little cups. That way they have just a little bit more room to spread out. Okay, so these are the winners. These are the guys that are going to be repotted. There's just a couple little tiny dudes in here, so I don't know whether to just leave them at this point. Let's see if they do anything. I only need truly about, I think, 8 of these plants. So when it comes down to the end of the day, these will not even, all of these may not even make it. It just depends what I have room for outside in the garden, and also kind of what makes it beyond this point as well. So I'm gonna add some more soil to top these off, give everything a good watering, and then again get these set up under the grow lights.
Thanks for watching, everyone, on this garden update. Hopefully next time we'll be headed outside. If you could, please give us a subscribe. We are almost to 500 subscribers. Thanks all for watching. Take care. See you next time.